Welcome to a deep exploration of the symbolic connection between Egyptian mythology and the mystical art of alchemy. In this video, we will uncover how the ancient myths of Egypt are not merely historical curiosities, but rich psychological blueprints for the process of transformation, rebirth, and the evolution of consciousness. We will also see how many core concepts in alchemy, such as nigredo, albedo, rubedo, and the sacred union of opposites, mirror the mythic patterns found in Egyptian religious thought. For Carl Gustav Jung, alchemy and mythology were both symbolic languages of the soul, and nowhere is this more apparent than in the mythological world of ancient Egypt. That we begin with Egypt itself. The ancient name for Egypt, Kemet, means the Black Land, referring to the fertile soil left behind by the flooding Nile. This dark, fertile earth became a foundational metaphor for alchemy's first stage, nigredo, or blackening. Just as alchemical work begins in decay, putrefaction, and dissolution, so too did Egyptian myth root itself in the cycles of death and rebirth, symbolized by the Nile, by the underworld, and by the gods who governed both destruction and regeneration. One of the most profound myths that parallels the alchemical journey is the myth of Osiris. Osiris, the god of vegetation, the afterlife, and rebirth, is killed and dismembered by his brother Set, only to be reassembled and revived by his consort and sister Isis. This dismemberment represents the nigredo, the destruction of form, the breaking down of the ego or existing identity. The reassembly by Isis symbolizes albedo, the purification and reintegration of purified parts. Osiris's resurrection and transformation into the lord of the underworld symbolizes rubedo, the red phase, the rebirth of the whole self in a transfigured, immortal form. For Jung, Osiris represents the self, the totality that can only emerge once the conscious and unconscious have been reconciled through symbolic death and inner work. Isis herself plays a pivotal role in this mythic process. She is not only a magician and healer, but the embodiment of wisdom, love, and devotion. In alchemy, she becomes a symbol of the anima, the inner feminine archetype that leads the ego into deeper connection with the unconscious. Just as Isis travels across Egypt to retrieve and reassemble the body of Osiris, so too does the anima guide the individual towards psychic integration. Isis also represents the principle of sacred union or conjunction, the alchemical wedding, of masculine and feminine, light and shadow, spirit and matter. Her mysteries were preserved in the Hermetic traditions and were foundational to the spiritual practice of the alchemists of late antiquity. Another central figure is Thoth, the ibis-headed god of wisdom, writing, and divine order. Thoth, often equated with Hermes in the Greco-Egyptian tradition, is considered the mythic founder of alchemy. He governs language, logic, sacred geometry, and the recording of sacred truths. In alchemy, Thoth is associated with mercury or quicksilver, fluid, reflective, changeable, the very principle that mediates opposites. He is the divine messenger, the logos, the guide of souls through death and transformation. He not only teaches the mysteries, but maintains the harmony of the cosmos. Just as Mercury facilitates transformation within the alchemical vessel, Thoth facilitates spiritual transformation within the psyche. Closely related is the concept of Maat, the goddess of truth, justice, and cosmic balance. Maat is the principle against which the heart of the dead is weighed in the judgment scene of the Egyptian afterlife. Her presence parallels the role of alchemical equilibrium, the need to balance opposites in order to achieve inner wholeness. Without balance, no transformation can succeed. In Jungian terms, Maat may be viewed as the principle of psychic integrity, the alignment of the ego with the truth of the self. One of the most compelling symbolic patterns in Egyptian myth is the solar journey of Ra. The sun god, travels through the sky during the day, only to descend into the underworld at night, where he must confront chaos and death before rising again in the morning. This daily cycle mirrors the alchemical opus. Daylight represents conscious awareness. Night represents the descent into the unconscious. And the dawn is the integration and renewal that comes after transformation. In psychological terms, Ra's journey reflects the individuation process, the descent into one's depths, the confrontation with darkness, and the emergence of a more unified self. Each night, Ra faces Apophis, the serpent of chaos, and defeats it. Each time the alchemist confronts inner conflict, shadow, or suffering, they are repeating the same archetypal battle. The Egyptian sarcophagus or coffin also mirrors the alchemical vessel. In Egyptian belief, the tomb was not a place of death, but of metamorphosis. It was a sacred space filled with symbols, spells, and protective icons, intended to guide the soul toward rebirth. Similarly, the alchemical vessel was both womb and tomb, a sealed container where matter could be broken down and reborn. The alchemist's laboratory was a sacred space, just like the Egyptian temple or tomb, a place where time and space were suspended, and the spiritual process could unfold. Jung often wrote about the significance of Egypt in the symbolic language of dreams. For him, Egyptian imagery represented the deep strata of the collective unconscious, a source of universal patterns, myths, and transformative potential. Many of Jung's patients dreamed of pyramids, sarcophagi, solar gods, or ancient rituals. For Jung, these were not meaningless hallucinations, but archetypal messages, symbols from the self calling the ego toward integration. The Hermetic Egyptian texts, such as the Corpus Hermeticum, served as philosophical blueprints for psychological alchemy. They described spiritual rebirth not as a dogma, but as a living inner experience, a transformation of the soul through gnosis, or direct knowledge. In conclusion, Egyptian mythology is not merely ancient religion. It is an encoded map of the human soul. Its gods are not just deities, but archetypes. Its rituals are not just ceremonies, but stages of inner work. Its myths describe, in symbolic language, the very same transformation that alchemy seeks to provoke. The dismemberment of Osiris, the resurrection of the dead, the nightly journey of Ra, the wisdom of Thoth, the balance of Maat. All of these are mirrors of the alchemical process. They reveal that true gold is not found in the earth, but forged in the depths of the human spirit. In both alchemy and Egyptian myth, transformation is not a metaphor. It is the deepest truth of life, death, and the eternal return of light. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this exploration of Egyptian myth and alchemical symbolism, please like, subscribe, and share. And let us know in the comments which Egyptian symbol or god speaks to your own path of transformation. Until next time, continue your inner journey with courage and wonder.